Two shades of orange underneath a setting Texas sun should make for a picture-perfect college football Saturday between 12th-ranked Clemson and 5th-ranked Texas here as the college football playoff begins on Saturday afternoon. Good evening from Austin for our Road to the Title postseason push. That's Julia Morris. I'm Mark Whiteman, and the third member of our sports team, Chase Justice, will join us in just a moment.
Mark, in the first year of the expanded football playoff, Clemson earned its spot in the 12-team field with a thrilling win in the ACC Championship game, and now the Tigers are part of history, playing in the first on-campus games in the history of the sport.
And we've got you covered across multiple time zones tonight.
And right here in Austin, we are getting ready for the Longhorns and Clemson, getting ready to face off at DKR Texas Memorial Stadium behind us, and then back in the upstate, our Chase Justice.
We'll break down the storylines of tomorrow's playoff game and look ahead to Georgia's quarterfinal matchup in the Sugar Bowl, as well as South Carolina's historic opportunity in the Citrus Bowl.
Yeah, Chase, but we begin tonight with the Tigers two-stepping their way into Texas. Folks come from all over for the food, the tunes, and 4 months a year, the football. Just steps from the state capital in the city known as the live music capital of the world. And oh yeah, Austin has quite the set ahead. So plug in and press play on the first ever meeting between Burnt Orange and Clemson Orange in a college football first on-campus playoff game. Clemson's campaign anything but smooth jazz, but they never played the blues, preferring instead to keep on writing that record and see where the season's long song could take them. There's a rhythm to brotherhood that rhymes with belief as the beat goes on in America's heartland. The next stop on the Tigers tour. A playoff berth was but a distant dream for the Tigers, but after another Clemson championship in Charlotte, here they are with an enormous challenge and an opportunity in front of them.
You know, this is what they work all year for. So to win their league, to qualify for the playoffs, they're certainly proud of themselves and got some wind at their back for what they were able to achieve and what they were able to overcome throughout the year. But it's a new season, and it's all about, you know, trying to play our best 4 quarters this week. That's what it's going to take.
All the adversity we went through this year, I still believe that we had a chance to make it to the playoffs, and we did. So just keep, you know what I'm saying, keep fighting, keep swinging, keep believing. And it's just God always going, you know what I'm saying, show out for us.
He takes off running up the middle.
Saturday will be Clemson's 5th true road game this fall. They are one of just 8 FBS teams that are unbeaten in true road games this season. And Julie, in the first year in the SEC, it has been quite the campaign for Texas.
Aside from 2 losses to Georgia, Mark, Texas has beaten every opponent they have faced this season. They're back in the college football playoff for the 2nd straight year. Last year, they lost to Washington in a college football playoff semifinal game, gave up 37 points to the Huskies in that game. But this year, Texas's defense has been outstanding. They have only allowed opponents to reach the 30-point mark 1 time, and that was against Georgia back in October. This Texas defense ranks in the top 10 in several statistical categories nationally. That includes pass defense, red zone defense, total defense. Head coach Steve Sarkisian saying his defense is going to face some challenges Saturday, though. He says Clemson quarterback Cade Klubnik's biggest strengths are his grit and toughness. He also knows Dabo Swinney has his guys buying in.
I think Dabo's knows who he is and knows what his program stands for, and he stands on that. And the players that choose to go to Clemson believe in that. And so when you do that, you don't have to vary too much.
Just how Coach Swinney runs his program, what he values, and what is all about, and the kind of guys that he got inside the building. I feel like that kind of what gets the program run is the people that's in the building.
The Texas player you just heard from there, Andrew Makuba, knows Dabo Swinney and this Clemson team very well, having played for the Tigers for 3 seasons, but he says it will be all business come Saturday. Chase?
It's no secret that the Clemson Tigers are hearing the noise heading in to the college football playoff. The first three-loss team to ever make the postseason. Many people are doubting Clemson's chances against Texas in Saturday's big game. Good news for the Tigers. They don't care. They'll enter this weekend's matchup as the largest underdog in the opening round of the CFP. Currently 11.5-point dogs. Just the third time all season long that Clemson will enter a game they aren't favored to win. But the Tigers tend to play their best football when everyone is counting them out. It's Clemson against the world, and that's exactly the way these Tigers like it.
Us being the underdog, it's cool. I mean, I like it. I feel like I was the underdog my whole life, just not being the biggest, not being the strongest. That's just kind of the mentality we have within our team. Like, nobody wants us to be here. Nobody expected us to be here, but it doesn't matter what other people say. It's what we do.
You know, it's really no secret that nobody wants us to be in the position that we are, but, you know, we take that as a compliment, and, you know, we kind of just wear it on our sleeve. We're counted against, but, you know, we like it like that this way.
The Tigers will look to continue playing the role of spoiler on Saturday night. But how they even made it to this point in the season is a story in itself.
It'll be a 56-yarder. The wind really not a factor. Snap and hold are good. That one is good! At the buzzer, Clemson wins the ACC.
It is a kick that will live in Clemson lore. Freshman Nolan Hooser, 20 minutes from his hometown, powering a career-best 56-yarder in the final seconds for the Tigers' 8th ACC title in the last 10 years and an automatic berth to this year's playoff.
I said, no, we're going to kick it. And Coach Luke goes, you think he's got that kind of leg? And I went, we're about to find out.
Coach Swain looked at me and said, put it through. And I was like, I got you. I got you.
In a season full of highs and lows, none better than that moment. Hey, we're just getting started on our road to the title postseason push. You've seen him rocking the cowboy hat before. Cade Klubnik is a proud Texan. We've got much more on his homecoming coming up soon in our special tonight.
And I caught up with one of Klubnik's top targets this season, how tight end Jake Brittingstool feels heading into his first college football playoff game.
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, just kind of embraced it and kind of just got to sit there and enjoy just the feeling of, hey, I'm getting to go home, and, you know, the guys I'm getting to be playing, the people that are going to be there, and just kind of enjoyed that for 1 or 2 days. And then after that, really just kind of set my mind on the task at hand.
All that stuff's great. Those are great storylines. Then the game kicks off and you don't even know who's over there. You don't even pay attention. Like, you forget who you're playing. You don't think about any of that stuff. You know, he knows it's about execution. It's about him doing his job at a high level.
Austin native Cade Klubnik, whose high school football stadium is 15 minutes from where he'll face the Longhorns tomorrow, keeping his emotions in check ahead of his unexpected homecoming.
And his growth this season has been a driving force in the Tigers' return to the college football playoff. Dabo Swinney said this week he thinks Klubnik is probably underrated, and the numbers back it up. 40 total touchdowns, ranks 3rd in the country, and one of just 3 players in the nation with more than 3,000 passing yards and 400 rushing yards. And what's really interesting about Klubnik, Mark, he is from Austin but didn't grow up a Texas fan. Both of his parents went to Texas A&M, so he grew up cheering for the Aggies.
And his Texas ties, they run deep. 5 of his former high school teammates now play for the Longhorns. And back in January of 2021, Klubnik and Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers went toe-to-toe in one of the most anticipated high school state championship games in Texas history.
My head coach was the father of Quinn's head coach. Quinn and I playing against each other, you know, it was a really cool deal.
Cade Klubnik and Quinn Ewers are used to the Texas-sized spotlight.
It was definitely a really cool game, and it was a fun one for sure.
He's a cool dude, and it's definitely cool to get to play each other again.
Ewers, the nation's top-ranked recruit, led South Lake Carroll into the 2020 6A Division I title game against Austin Westlake and junior Cade Klubnik. The Chaparrals, coached by Todd Dodge, Ewers Dragons, led by Dodge's son, Riley Dodge.
They called it the Dodge Bowl.
And on the biggest stage in Texas, Arlington's AT&T Stadium, the duo shined. Ewers throwing for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. Klubnik gutting it out after tearing the AC joint in his throwing shoulder in the state semifinal.
I couldn't even raise my arm on Sunday, and I'm like, dang, I gotta go play a state championship game this week. So I didn't throw the whole week. By the time that we got to Saturday, we got shot it up and gritted it out and went and played.
He completed 18 of his 20 passes, totaling more than 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, 2 on the ground, earning offensive MVP honors, while his teammate and friend Michael Taff, now a star defensive back with the Longhorns, picked off Ewers to help seal the Chaparrals' 52-34 win.
Cade is the most competitive player I've ever played with and now played against in my life, hands down. Whether it's a pickleball match and we're playing with our parents, or it's a football game and you're playing in front of 100,000 in DKR, he's going to do whatever it takes to win.
I love that soundbite there from Michael Taff. So now we've talked about the quarterbacks, Julia, but so many other matchups to break down in this game tomorrow.
Texas's defense has been outstanding all season long. Chase?
They sure are, Julia. Cade Klubnik and the Tigers offense will have their work cut out for them on Saturdays. This Texas defense has given up more than 17 points just 3 times this entire season. The Longhorns rank near the top of the country in just about every major defensive statistic, and are top 3 in the nation in both passing defense and total defense, allowing just 4 passing touchdowns all season long. That Texas unit warning some pretty high praise by the offensive decision makers over in Tiger Town.
I really don't see a weakness on their side of the ball. I mean, they're big up front. I think their linebackers are really productive players. And then obviously their secondary is strong. Got some veteran guys that play a lot of football.
They're definitely trying to keep everything in front of them. They got a lot of speed on the back end, and that's kind of what they do. They're trying to, the safeties will get, 15, 20 yards back at times. Corners will definitely play some catch and get out of there. So they're trying to limit big plays, keep everything in front of them, and make tackles because that's what they're good at.
This Texas defense allowing just 12 points per game. Historically dominant on the defensive front, but on offense, the Longhorns are no slouch either. Averaging nearly 34 points per game, ranked 18th in the country in total offense. Mark?
Yeah, Clemson's going to have to keep pace with the Longhorns you would expect on Saturday, but they have really taken a massive step forward offensively in Garrett Riley's second year.
They're ranked in the top 15 nationally in passing yards per game mark. They were outside the top 70 last year. One of Clemson's top offensive weapons this season, tight end Jake Brenningstool. I caught up with him ahead of his first college football playoff game. Jake, your time at Clemson coming to an end, but first you have an incredible opportunity in front of you taking on Texas. What's your mindset heading into Saturday?
Yeah, our word for this season has just been finish. So I'm looking forward to finishing strong, finishing off my career, finishing off this season. We got a great opportunity, like you said, to be able to be a part of the first edition of the 12-team playoff. So just being able to go out there, do what we do, execute at a high level in a hostile crowd, I think it's going to be a lot of fun for us, and we're looking forward to it.
Texas ranks in the top 10 in several defensive statistical categories. What do you guys have to do to make sure that you can execute your game plan against a defense that's been outstanding all season long?
Yeah, they got great players. They got a great scheme. They do a really good job with what they have. Even, Makuba, he was a great player for us here, going down there. He's doing his thing. So we're just excited for the matchup. We got a lot of playmakers on offense, so I feel good about it. I feel good about us.
Coach Sweeney has said recently, a lot of people want him to change the way he does things, but he's not going to change who he is, and you've known him for several years. What makes him such a great leader when this time of year comes around for Clemson?
Yeah, the big time games, playoff games, championship games, that's nothing new to Coach Sweeney. He's built a championship program from the ground up, so just being able to, put faith in him, know what he knows, and he knows what he's doing.
What examples have you seen from Cade Klubnik this year in terms of how he's grown as a leader on and off the field?
He, came into this year with a chip on his shoulder, and you can kind of see that all the way back to our winter workouts in January. He just came with a different mindset, different energy to him. It's been really inspiring to be around him. I think he's done a really good job for us, and we've really grown to be closer together.
You mentioned how close this team is. What quality do you think has defined this group all season long and gives you confidence that this team has what it takes to win a national championship?
Yeah, I think we've been through a lot of adversity. One of our teammates yesterday said there's beauty in the struggle. You go back to last year, we had a little bit of struggle, some adversity hit, but I don't think this team ever felt wavered, you know what I'm saying? I think everybody just stick together. We've been through so much together, so might as well just go out here and finish and put an exclamation point on this thing.
Brittany Stool and the Tigers are locked in, and Georgia, Mark, also getting ready to play in the college football playoff this season. Bulldogs going to be making their third playoff appearance in the last 4 years.
Yeah, coming up, we're talking Georgia in the Sugar Bowl and South Carolina's potentially historic opportunity in the Citrus Bowl. Stay with us. You're watching Road to the Title postseason push.
My mindset is like I'm getting ready to play 4 more games or however many it is. So I have no plan whatsoever of just being ready for my season to end. I plan for my last game to be the national championship.
You heard the man, senior linebacker Barrett Carter, planning for a lengthy college football playoff run. And Julia, there are no guarantees, of course, when you get to the postseason, but it sure looks like Georgia's going to have to lean on a young QB in New Orleans.
Yeah, Georgia announced yesterday they are preparing to play in the playoff without starting quarterback Carson Beck. He hurt his elbow on his right throwing arm in the SEC championship game, likely out for the playoffs. But after he was hurt in the SEC championship game, backup gunner Stockton came in and provided a spark. But Stockton is very young. He's just a sophomore, had only played in 7 games in his career. And with his playing time against Texas in the SEC title game, that marked the first time he had even faced SEC competition. Georgia head coach Kirby Smart expressing confidence in Stockton after the Bulldogs win in Atlanta, but before their quarterfinal game, he was also honest about the challenges Stockton may face.
Experience is so valuable, and you can't really get experience in this amount of time. I wish he'd gotten more game experience up to this point in time. There's not a lot we can do about that.
Georgia will play either Notre Dame or Indiana in the Sugar Bowl on New Year's Day. Chase?
Hey, Julia, it doesn't get much more storybook than this. Stockton is set to make his first career start in the upcoming Sugar Bowl against the winner of tonight's college football playoff matchup between 8th-seeded Indiana and 5th-seed Notre Dame. That game kicks off at 8 p.m. over on ESPN. And while Georgia and Indiana may have never met on the football field before, the Dogs have quite a rich history with the Fighting Irish. A perfect 3-0 all-time against Notre Dame, including Georgia's second national championship win in the Sugar Bowl back in 1981, where a certain true freshman by the name of Herschel Walker ran for 150 yards on his way to being named MVP. Mark?
Yeah, Chase, and before we see Georgia kick off on New Year's Day, South Carolina will face Illinois in the Citrus Bowl on New Year's Eve in Orlando.
Mark, South Carolina certainly disappointed. They're not in the playoff. They were one of the hottest teams in the country at the end of the regular season, but head coach Shane Beamer also saying his team is fired up to play Illinois in the Citrus Bowl. This will be just the 4th time South Carolina has played in a bowl game in Orlando, and it's also the first time since 2013.
The Gamecocks reeled off 6 straight wins to close out the season, 4 coming against ranked opponents. But when it became apparent that 9-3 wasn't going to be good enough to get the Gamecocks into the playoff, well, Shane Beamer and athletic director Ray Tanner went to work securing the best possible bowl destination.
It was pretty evident that we weren't going to be in the playoffs. Immediately, we went to work on our bowl destination, and credit to Coach Tanner. I've been wearing him out. I wanted to make sure that our players who have done so much this season got the opportunity to go out the right way in a great bowl game like we're going to be playing in. So appreciate Coach Tanner, appreciate the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl for inviting us, choosing us, and we need our fans to answer the call, though.
Beamer and the Gamecocks understand what they can accomplish on New Year's Eve in Orlando. 4 teams in the 130-plus years of South Carolina football have won at least 10 games, something South Carolina last accomplished in 2013. Would certainly be a very special way to cap a spectacular season for the Gamecocks. Well, we're going to come right back, and we're going to wrap it up. But, Julia, it wouldn't be a trip to Texas without talking a little barbecue.
Our trip to Terry Black's did not disappoint. You said you're still full from it, right? You had a plate, Mark. I have to say, you do not want to miss this. My mouth's still watering thinking about it. Stick with us. You're watching Road to the Title postseason push.
Oh, you call me out, Julia.
Oh, that's easy, Matthew McConaughey. I've said that many times. I've said that many times. He might be a little busy. He's a Longhorn. So he'd be my top choice.
All right. 5 years ago, Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney was asked who would play him in a movie. His answer, the Minister of Culture at the University of Texas, Mr. Matthew McConaughey. The Oscar-winning actor can often be seen on the Texas sidelines cheering on the players at his alma mater. So when it was announced Clemson was playing in Austin, Swinney shouted, "I'm finally going to meet Matthew McConaughey." And Mark, what a meeting that will be tomorrow afternoon.
You caught me off guard with a McConaughey impression, Julia. You think Texas, you think Matthew McConaughey, you also think Texas barbecue. And we had the opportunity to tour and try Terry Black's barbecue last night, one of the most famous restaurants in the country and absolutely a Texas staple.
Terry Black's did not disappoint.
It did not.
Terry Black's is a part of the family that have been together smoking meats for probably about 3 or 4 generations. Everything you see is live fire, so all of our fireboxes are down here on this side. Everything we do is offset, indirect, so no fires or coals ever touching the meat, just low and slow with the smoke. So these briskets have been on for about 9, coming up on 10 hours.
How long do you keep them on?
And these will go for about 12 hours total.
And are you do you have any timers in here, or you just...
We got a clock. The clock's our timer. We write down whenever we start, and we use the clock to reference.
The line starts right here, kind of works in the cafeteria style. So everybody goes around this line right here, grab the sides first, and then you go over to the blocks over there to grab your proteins. Everything is done by weight. So essentially 1 slice of brisket, 1 slice of turkey, or you can go by the bones or ribs. Okay. So
what's your favorite?
My favorite is definitely pork ribs, moist brisket, jalapeno and cheddar sauces. That's my order.
How many pounds of meat you guys might move through on a weekend like this?
Yeah, a weekend like this, I think we're going to get up to about 3 tons in one day. So I think on Saturday, we're going to get about 3 tons with the crowd that comes in.
3 tons, man, that's crazy.
Mark, you had a ton all by yourself.
Oh,
1 ton last.
Come on.
We appreciate everyone. We appreciate everyone at Terry Black's for their hospitality.
Yeah.
Had a fantastic time there.
Cannot wait for the game tomorrow, Clemson and Texas. For Julia Chase, Jarrett behind the camera, our entire team. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.